Hello everyone. So today we discuss that about access specifiers in C++. First of all, we will see what are access specifiers. Access specifiers are keywords given by C++ to specify the access level of class members. That means it is something which is applied to class members. As of now, we know there are two types of class members, data members as well as member functions. That means we will talk about the access specification of the data members and member functions. Why we are talking of the access specification? That means we can control which part of the program can access which data member of the class, which member function of the class. That means which member function is accessible by all the functions outside the class and which are not. The control is with us with some keywords. That means we are putting some restriction for the members of the class. They are not openly accessible by every other function outside the class. These are achieved by using three keywords: public, private, and protected. These are three keywords given by C++ which will work as access specifiers. We will use them inside the class definition with the data members as well as member functions. Just we want to control their access, whether they are openly accessible or whether they are accessible with some restriction. Why we want to put some restriction on their access? For the control, for the security purpose, data security purpose, we will discuss about that. Firstly, we will see what is private access specifier. What happens if we make a data member private? What happens if we make a member function as private? When we make a data member as private and a member function as private, then no one outside the class, nowhere outside the class, this member is accessible. That means we cannot use class object with the dot operator to use that data member of the class, whether it is data member or whether it is member function. If it is private, it cannot be used with object and dot operator directly from outside the class. It will be used only inside the class. That means the data member which is privately declared in the class can only be used by the class member function, not outside any of other member function, not outside any function of main or other than main. Outside the class, it is not accessible directly with the object name and dot, like we previously did in our previous classes. So any member of the class declared with private access specifier can only be accessed within the class. True, it cannot be accessed from outside the class. It is a default access specifier. What it means, if we don't put any access specification in the class definition, that means with the data members we are declaring, the member functions we are declaring without any access specification of either public or private, then it will by default take it them private. That means if we forget to specify access specification by private or public, then it is automatically private. The class will make all, it will be a class with all the members as private members. Usually we use this specifier with the data members. Usually data members are used with private access specifiers because we want data to be protected. We want the data of object to be protected. We don't want any other object or any other class or any other function outside the class to change the data of the class. So we usually declare data members as private. This is about private access specifier. We will also cover an example where we will see how private and public makes an impact. What is public access specifier? As the name says, when we make a data member or a member function public, it will become public to all the functions within the same program. It can be accessed by any other program, by any other function in the program if it is public. How we will use it? We will use with object name and dot operator, and we can directly call the member function. We can directly use the data member as well if it is public. Usually public specifier is used with member functions of the class rather than data members. We rarely make some data members public. We usually keep member functions of the class as public. If we forget to again specify the access specifier, the whole class will become private, and a class with all the data members and all the member functions as private is used rarely and cannot be used. Cannot be used directly. If we make all the things private, then how will we use it? We can create an object of it, but we cannot use any data member or any member function with object name and dot operator. So what we have seen is there are two types of mainly specifier here, public and private. I will show you a program created with the public member function, with the public data members and private data members, and and we will see the difference between the two. Here is a program. It's it's a class rectangle declared. Two data members have been made. No member function has been included in the class. The two data members are put in the public by the public keyword just to make their access specification as public. This is the way to write the syntax public and the colon. When we put this, it creates a public section and both data members belong to this public section. Okay, the class definition is over and we are creating an object of the class R1. We can see that R1.len, we can do R1.len and we can assign some value to it. We can use R1.bre is equals to 20. That means we are assigning some value to breadth. That means length and breadth are directly accessible outside the class with the object name and dot operator. Why it is so? Because we have made them public by putting this public keyword. So if we run this program, it will be successfully compiled and it will print values assigned. Why it is printing values assigned? Because of this cout statement values assigned. That means it has run successfully without any problem. If I comment this public keyword that, if I comment this public keyword, that means I have removed this word from my program. If I will remove this, by default it will take them as private data members. Now the data members have become private, and we have talked that private data members cannot be used directly from outside the class using object and the dot operator. That means it is an error. Let's see what happens when we compile and run it. It is showing you an error that rectangle length is private data member. Why it is showing so? Because we have removed the public keyword from here. By the removal of the keyword, no other access specifier is mentioned, and by default it becomes a private data member of the class. And the thumb rule is that private data member cannot be used outside the class directly. That means R1 dot length. Now length is a private data member. So with the object name and dot operator, this member will not be accessible outside the class. We have to remove this commenting part, and we have to make the public part of the program. Now we make the public keyword part of the class. So it becomes both the members becomes public. When they are public, they are directly accessible outside the class with the object name and dot operator, and program is running successfully. I think that is clear.